What if you fell into an ocean of liquid nitrogen? You plummet from a great height. The surface is a shimmering, pale blue mirror. Impact occurs at terminal velocity. Instead of a splash, the world turns into a freezing, colorless void of absolute thermal shock. The temperature is minus 320 degrees Fahrenheit. This isn't like jumping into a cold pool. Thermal energy departs your skin instantly. The air above the surface is a thick, suffocating fog of condensing oxygen. Breathing becomes an exercise in inhaling liquid air. Lungs crystallize. The bloodstream slows to a crawl. Physics decides that your biological warmth is an offensive anomaly that needs to be corrected immediately and violently. Initially, a strange phenomenon saves you. The Leidenfrost effect occurs. The extreme temperature difference creates a thin layer of insulating nitrogen gas around your skin. This gas barrier prevents direct contact for a few precious seconds. You are essentially wearing a suit of steam but with nitrogen. For a moment you glide across the surface like a fleshy air hockey puck. The skin doesn't freeze immediately because the gas layer acts as a thermal shield. This is a brief scientific mercy. However, the physics of a vast ocean are not merciful. The gas layer is unstable. Turbulence from the fall disrupts the shield. The protective vapor collapses. The liquid nitrogen finally touches your flesh. The shield is gone. Direct contact begins. The transition is not gradual. It is a binary switch from living tissue to a ceramic-like solid. The heat leaves your body so fast that the nerves cannot even register the pain. Silence follows. Thermal shock takes over. Water makes up most of the human body. In this environment, that water becomes a liability. The liquid nitrogen aggressively hunts every joule of energy in your cells. This isn't just freezing, it is molecular deceleration. The lipids in your cell membranes harden into brittle glass. Protein structures collapse. The liquid in your eyes turns to ice, rendering sight impossible. Muscle fibers lock into rigid, unmoving lattices. The heart attempts one last contraction, but the myocardium is now a frozen slab of organic stone. The blood in the veins stops flowing and crystallizes into red needles. You are no longer a biological organism. You are now a human-shaped piece of cryogenically frozen sculpture. This state is chemically stable, but physically precarious. The internal stresses of the rapid freeze create microfractures throughout the skeletal system and the soft tissues. Internal pressures build. While the exterior is frozen, the core remains slightly warmer for a few more seconds. This creates a massive thermal gradient. The outer shell shrinks while the inner core tries to maintain its volume. This tension is immense. Simultaneously, the water inside the cells expands as it turns to ice. Since ice takes up more space than liquid water, the cell walls rupture from the inside out. Every single cell in the body becomes a tiny, exploding grenade. The structural integrity of the organs fails. The liver, kidneys, and brain are now just porous sponges of ice and ruptured membranes. Because the nitrogen is boiling around you, the body is subjected to constant high-frequency vibrations. This acoustic energy travels through the frozen flesh. The resonance begins to find the natural frequency of the frozen bone. Tiny cracks propagate from the marrow outward. The body is now a network of frozen stress lines, waiting for a single physical catalyst to trigger a total systemic collapse. The ocean is not still. Giant waves of liquid nitrogen roll across the horizon. A rogue wave 50 feet tall slams into the frozen statue. The impact is not a thud, it is a mechanical failure. The kinetic energy of the wave transfers instantly into the brittle structure of the body. The microfractures synchronize. A chain reaction of shattering begins at the point of impact and rips through the torso. The ribcage snaps like a dry twig. The skull splits into a dozen clean geometric shards. The limbs shear off at the joints. Because the nitrogen is boiling, the pieces don't just sink. They are tossed around in a chaotic, bubbling soup of supercooled liquid. The fragments of the body act like jagged ice cubes in a giant cocktail. The current carries these pieces across the nitrogen sea. Some shards float, others sink. The biological remains are now just mineral deposits in a cryogenic wasteland. There is no decay, there is no bacteria. There is only the endless, freezing motion of the white tide. The human form is completely erased, replaced by a cloud of frozen organic confetti drifting toward a frozen shoreline. The process is complete. You have been converted from a complex sentient being into a collection of frozen, jagged puzzle pieces. The laws of thermodynamics 1. The energy transfer was so efficient that your existence was erased in a matter of minutes. What remains is a few kilograms of biological ice scattered across 1,000 miles of nitrogen. The ocean is indifferent. The physics are absolute. The result is a clean, clinical, and incredibly cold demolition of the human anatomy. Unfortunately, this creates a legal nightmare. Since the body is scattered across a vast oceanic territory, the coroner cannot issue a death certificate. The insurance company refuses to pay the life insurance claim due to a lack of a cohesive corpse. This is very inconvenient. The insurance paperwork will take decades. Do not jump into nitrogen oceans. Subscribe to the What If Club to see more ways to accidentally disassemble your molecular structure.